Joining me now on this special broadcast is Air Chief Marshal Fali Homi Major, former Chief of Air Staff. Air Chief, you, during 26/11 Mumbai terror attacks and immediately after that, had recommended that India should hit terror camps across. Today, how would you read Pakistan's CAPs, their very aggressive combat air patrols and their exercises from Lalkar-e Moment to Fizai Badr to Zarb-e Haidari, sir?
Gaurav, am I there on your screen?
Yeah, absolutely. Strength 5, go on, sir.
Okay. Gaurav, in the past few days, there has been some very hectic activities in Pakistan. And to me, it appears that they have accepted the fact that they are now a victim nation and they are preparing for it. Good luck
Explain,
to them.
sir, the victim nation. Yes, sir. Go on, sir.
Yeah, because they think that they're going to be the victims now of an assault which is forthcoming. So good luck to them. Let them keep preparing. And we'll see what happens in the coming hours or days ahead.
Okay. Coming hours or days, not weeks, because isn't that element of surprise lost before Balakot? Air Force had the element of surprise because perhaps it wasn't even in the realm of Pakistani imagination that we'll punish terror by launching fighter jets across the LC, hitting across the IB. Aren't they better prepared this time with their radars, with their combat air patrols, with their AWACS or eyes in the skies already up, sir?
Gaurav, I'm not going to go into these tactical issues of how well they are prepared and how good they are or how bad they are. Suffice to say that they can do what they wish. If we need to hit them, we will hit them one way or the other. It's as simple as that.
Oh, interesting. And perhaps, is it that they know it and that is why they've just announced an extension of NOTAM or this notice to airmen to declare a no-fly zone over Lahore and Islamabad, and they keep extending it by 48 hours. Now, are they anticipating that this time it won't just be in POJK or the Indian Air Force won't just enter through POJK, but as the Pakistanis or the Punjabi Pakistani Musalman calls it, the strike could be in proper Pakistan, their Punjab province?
Yeah, proper Pakistan was also in the 2019 strike. So it could be anywhere in Pakistan. Now, I mean, these are things which the people who are going to execute this task to know. You and me can speculate till the cows come home as to where we are going to hit them, or or when, how, when, where. That is a question which only the planners and the people who are going to execute the missions will know, and not us. And actually, we need not know. It is not our business to know what's going to happen in the coming hours or days, as I said.
I like the way you say in the coming hours and days, and perhaps this explains Pakistan's very aggressive posturing and their combat air patrols where they have their fighter jets up in the air, they have their AWACS up in the air. But I want to understand from you, sir, because even after 26/11, you had not only wargamed it, you had made certain suggestions to then Dr. Manmohan Singh government. Would it be enough to hit a terrorist camp or a launch pad, or when you're using your fighter jets, you'd rather hit the source of terror, the Pakistan Army? They bled us, we bleed the Pakistan Army, or the Air Force bleeds the Pakistan Army, or hit their war fighting capabilities, degrade their war fighting capabilities, or would that invite massive retaliation and escalation where they could strike at our garrisons?
Gaurav, our Prime Minister has made it very, very clear what we want to hit, what we want to eliminate. So, I'm not going to leave it to anyone's imagination to wonder what we're going to hit, because he has said not just the terrorists, but the source of terrorism. Now, what does that mean?
Explain that to us, sir. What does that mean?
I mean, it very simply means that the people who are perpetrating terror, and that is the state of Pakistan.
But the state of Pakistan, as you know, I've been hearing a lot of commentators, even in Pakistan, and they are trying to reassure. Their Air Force is trying to reassure them, their commentators and their political leaders, they are trying to reassure them that they are a nuclear weapons state and they have those pow-kilo nuclear bombs, as they say, you know, those small yield nuclear devices. If their country is threatened, they could retaliate. But does it mean that one airstrike and they will, you know, do we know the nuclear threshold? Don't we, sir? What is your appreciation?
As far as I'm concerned, this nuclear bogey has been carrying on for the past God knows how many decades. And I wish they used that, you know, whatever they call it, a quarter pound or quarter kilo bomb. What are they going to achieve with that? Do they even realize that by using that, you open the entire ambit of nuclear strikes from our side? That's our policy. Whether it's a quarter pound or 200 pounds, it doesn't matter. So, I mean, I hope they do, because that is the biggest regret that they'll ever face. And I pity the people of Pakistan if these guys, their political and military leadership, ever thinks about it.
So, you know, is that your appreciation that the nuclear threat is just a bogey? Because they would love international attention. They could, you know, do some public posturing like we've seen in different parts of the world. The moment the war gets too hot or they do not want an escalation, they start displaying their nuclear assets, whether it's a missile or a launcher or carrying out an exercise like we saw between Russia, you know, like we saw Russia did at that point of time. But are we concerned about what Pakistan could do, or just that could result in India launching a bigger preemptive retaliatory conventional strike?
Gaurav, you know, after this, you know, what the Prime Minister said recently after meeting with the military leadership of the country, we must understand one thing, that certain aims and objectives have already been worked out by the government and the political leadership. These objectives have been given to the armed forces, and the armed forces have been told that you carry them out in a manner you wish and in the time frame you decide. Now, if that has been done, I'm 100% sure that every single escalatory factor has been factored in. So at the moment, what we need to do is to have and repose immense faith in our political and military leadership about the actions which are likely to be taken, as I said, in hours or days, and leave it at that. That is what will happen. We can keep speculating, as I said, till the cows come home, but you will never know what actually is going to happen in the coming hours and days.
And 2019, we did not have the Rafales, we did not have the Scalps and Meteors, the beyond visual range missiles, and we do not even have the S-400 air defense system. Now, does that put India on a stronger footing, on a stronger wicket vis-a-vis Pakistan, or would they also have war-gamed something to come around it? Because they, you know, your assessment of the Pakistani Air Force as on dates, they're getting a lot of military hardware, even if it's second-hand and perhaps an older vintage from China.
Be that as it may, every country will try to improve its defense capability and preparedness every single day. I mean, as I just mentioned just before this, that all these things what you're talking about have already been factored in. We know exactly what they have, what their capabilities are, and any action which will be planned will factor this in. So we know where they are, where we are, and what kind of action is required for us to come out victorious.
And in your appreciation, the way you read the Pakistani mind, do things like Indus Waters Treaty being held in abeyance, does that send out a clearer message to Pakistan? Would a kinetic operation send out a better message to Pakistan? Air, that perhaps, as some of the commentators said, has a bigger impact, because that takes away their fizaya or their sense of superiority that they had of their air power. The fact that so many of our fighter jets went in, struck and came back, and they could do nothing about it, and the next day they could not come in to our territory. But they've also worked out some of their tactics, so have we. Are we on a stronger footing in your appreciation today vis-a-vis 2019? Are we in a better position to inflict that pain, not just on terrorists? That time it was terrorists. This time it has to be the Pakistan army.
Gaurav, this time around, it's a whole of government approach, where diplomatic, economic, and other measures, which you and me will never know what is in the offing, are already happening. And you're very right that compared to 2019, the Indian Air Force and indeed the other two services are much better equipped, much better prepared than during that time. And with that kind of a robust system that has been put in place in this country, sorry.
God bless you. Go on, sir.
The Prime Minister facing immense faith, not just in the armed forces, but through the very many meetings he's had in the past 24, 48 hours, he has placed immense faith in every single stakeholder who's in the security calculus, national security calculus of this country, and empowered them to do what has been specified by the political leadership. Now, if that has been done, every single move, whether it's Indus Water Treaty, or for that matter, any other financial and other actions which we are going to take, have already been approved.
So this is... Go on, sir.
And therefore, what we need to do is sit back and see how all these actions and provisions made by the government unfold, as I say again, in the next few hours or days.
And to those who say, ab tak kyun nahi kiya, it should have been done by now, why are they waiting? There'll be too much international pressure if we don't do it now. Pakistan is anyway seeking international pressure. Pakistan will try and make some promises that they will, do something, and that they're saying, let there be an independent probe, an impartial third-party probe. Somebody who has suffered through 26/11 Mumbai terror attacks, where Pakistan carried out an investigation and did nothing, or in Pathankot, again hitting one of our air bases, where they registered an FIR, ISI came in and yet did nothing. What would you say to those who are saying, let there be a third-party independent investigation?
I would ask them to go to hell. And secondly, there will be reactions from all quarters. But let me tell you one thing. In the present world order, nobody in the world is going to give a damn what we do to Pakistan. Haven't we had enough examples? What is Israel doing to the Hamas, to the Palestinians? What are the Russians doing to the Ukrainians?
Okay. But sir, neither Hamas nor Ukraine are nuclear weapon states.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. How does it matter? I mean, why are we getting so... And don't forget one more thing. There are nuclear watchdogs all around the world. And the nuclear arsenal of every single country is being monitored very closely. And I'm quite sure that Pakistan, being what it is perhaps the prime suspect to use the nuclear weapons in a manner which is not what nuclear weapons are meant for. And we have many supporters around the world who will ensure that these weapons are never, ever used by Pakistan.
Even if they have an Islamist, radical Islamist as their army chief?
They can have anyone as their chief.
Okay. Air Chief Marshal Fali Homi Major, you always call a spade a spade. From the time that you were commanding that airbase in Leh, it's always such a privilege talking to you and learning so much from you. Air Chief Marshal Major, many thanks for joining me here on India Today.
Thank you. Thank you, Gaurav.